Welcome into the Tuesday, September 19th edition of the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller, thanks so much for joining us. We have an aspect today. Yay! Told you about it yesterday. And really, you were in the feel of it yesterday because it peaks at 7:17 this morning Eastern Time. The sun is opposite Neptune. Now, I'm going to tell you about a little sale that we have going on here in just a second, but let's cover this because it is the aspect du jour. And interestingly, where I am set to my chart in Asheville, the sun is right on the cusp of the first house, and that puts Neptune right on the cusp of the seventh house. And boy, if there ever was such a depiction of this aspect, it's perfect how it laid into the chart to just let the whole thing tell its own story. Now, before I tell you that story, let me tell you about these journals that are on sale because Sarah in our little podcast shop has put all the spiral journals on sale, $14.99 through the rest of the weekend. And these journals have all kinds of cool stuff on them that you can get. One is As Above, So Below. There's a highest timeline journal. Open it up every morning and just think, I'm doing this to be on my highest timeline. And then the one I love, It All Started in an RV. There are several others. I'm going to put the link directly to it in the show notes. $14.99 through the weekend. The Neptune Sun Special. There you go. So the sun is right there in the first house and Neptune is in the seventh. What do we always say about the most important relationship when we start talking about seventh house relationship stuff? It's the one with us. And what does the first house represent? Us. And what does the sun represent? Us. So here we are, and at that hour, Virgo is rising. So we're doing the Virgoan business with the sun right there, going deep, going into detail, crossing all the T's in our journal. Don't you know? This is a journal activity, this aspect. It absolutely is. So we're dealing with our own truths. And I mean, look at all the top stories in the news. No, don't look at the news. This wonderful listener who we did a reading the other day showed me how on Twitter you can mute words. I don't have a Twitter feed anymore. It's like, oh, perfect. It's really fast and really boring, but I just eliminated literally probably about 10 words, and it just took all the major stuff that everybody's yeah about off, gone. But before I hit that last batch of words to clean everything else that I didn't want to be looking at every morning off, every story is about lies and deceptions or possibly false accusations. All of it under the umbrella of Neptune. And I tried to do a YouTube and TikTok on the Lauren Boebert thing, and I just didn't like the way it came out. And I don't know, Chet and I are talking about doing these. Do you guys want to hear when pop stuff comes up like that somebody is in the news? We did Russell Brand over the weekend, and then I tried to do Lauren Boebert. Do you want that stuff on video to show their chart? Because Lauren's was very interesting. Don't have an exact birth time on her, but if you put it in a solar chart, you set the chart to noon based on the birthday and place, and then you put the sun right on the cusp of the first house, and you read the chart. She has a lot of karma in the 12th house. The midheaven, the transiting midheaven at the time of that show was in the 12th house. And then when you look in the area of the show itself and the activities that were going on in the show itself, that's the 5th house. That was Taurus, so there's Uranus and Jupiter, both in retrograde. And Uranus in Taurus itself is a warning sign to tap the brakes, be more cautious. That was the very aspect that was pointed out to me in Denver, and I stopped skiing based on that aspect. Radical? Yes, but I had other stuff to do, so I just used it as an exit point, if you will, for me. But I saw a lot of people in Aspen that had months, if not years, of rehab, and they may not have gotten back to normal. So I looked at all of this work was just being born at that time, and I looked at here's the potential of this, and there's the potential of that, and it was a no-brainer decision. But on this, and see, this is where astrology is so significant in our lives, because if she had been living her highest timeline, and she had written in her highest timeline journal that morning, and looked at her chart, and especially if she had set the chart for that time, she would have seen the warning signs all over the place. And then she would have had the choice whether to behave or not. But the consequences of this for her long term could be significant, but there's a whole lot of other spiritual and karmic work that her 38 years has not unfolded yet. So we're not at the end of that story. Now, I could do videos on that. You guys give me some feedback, maybe in the speak pipe or in the little chat button on the funastrology.com website down in the lower right, and just let me know. And just say, yeah, we'd love it. Or no, I'd rather just stick with the core stuff that you do. And I would love some feedback because I'm a little bit trying to say, well, should we? But I don't know. But you see here how that's a perfect story of what this aspect is all about. It's about being true to yourself, because what happened? She got caught vaping. She's waving the Christian flag. What's that telling all those Christian families and those teenagers who are looking up to her, and the young ladies who are looking up to her as a role model? They go to Sunday school and church, and they hear thou shalt not, and then they watch Lauren Boebert and Congresswoman and thou shalt, I guess. And then she said for, 3 or 4 days that she wasn't vaping. Well, that's Neptune. That's called a lie. And look, I'm not playing the political sides, because I saw all the online comments. Believe me, I am a Scorpio. I did my research. I saw a lot of people who really liked what she did. They like her brashness. So this is one of those 50-50 political aisle things, and I'm not going down that path. I'm just saying, here was a chart that very clearly addressed what happened. And then here's an aspect today that reemphasizes it. My hope and prayer with Neptune finishing its transit over the next couple of years, it's still going to be a very slow exit. Not until 2026 that it moves into Aries fully. We're going to have some retrograde back and forth there. But I hope Neptune exposes the many lies that have been told in this world for way, way too long. You realize it will be another 150 years, basically, before Neptune is back in Pisces. So Neptune, I hope you do a really good job on your way out. And that's the other thing is Mars is getting ready to move into home sign Scorpio. And that's another one that says, be sure your sins will find you out. And they'll come down kind of hard, too. So we have a couple of double signatures, and that's the thing, is to just square up, be able to look yourself right in the mirror with that sun in the first house in Virgo. Look into your own eyes in the mirror and say, is there any untruth projecting out from me? Do you know that there is something that is being hidden, masked, illusion, delusion, or just covering up? And say, no, I didn't do that. I didn't. No. That would be a great thing to use this day to go inside on that and do the deep spiritual work. That's what this aspect is all about. Hope that helps. I love you guys so much. Oh, big hug. Mwah! See you back tomorrow.